Lillahi ta'ala. Have the good intentions. We are still in al-ajwaf. Okay, we're still talking about the ajwaf, the hollow verb. We're at the beginning of the ajwaf. We really didn't get into it for having some short lessons and for me repeating some cases to be sure that they are clear. So let's try to read through this since we maybe said it 2 times already. And let me erase all this stuff going on here. All right. And so the author says, Rahimahullah ta'ala, Allahumma yassir wa la tu'assir, الثاني المعتل العين. Now, the second case, الثاني, the second case of فعل معتل, of defective verb, is the معتل العين, when the middle letter is defective. So we are out of the first letter being defective, whether it's wawi or ya'i, and that's called mithal. Now we are in the case where the middle letter is defective, and that's called ajwaf. And then you're going to see when the third letter is defective, and then you'll see the combinations. First letter and third letter, and this one and that one. المعتل العين ويقال له الأجوف. So the one with the defective middle letter, it is called hollow. وذو الثلاثة. And ذو الثلاثة, it is called the one that has 3 letters. The one that has 3 letters. What does that mean? He tells you, لكون ماضيه على 3 أحرف إذا أخبرت عن نفسك. It's called ذو الثلاثة, the one that has 3 letters, because of its past tense form having only 3 letters when you are telling about yourself. So, al-mu'tal al-ain, which is al-ajwaf, the defective middle letter, which is the hollow verb, like qala, ba'a, sara, sana, etc. What do you want? Ghaba, khafa, etc., etc., etc. When the verb is like this, and then you want to tell about yourself, which means, let me take one of these. I'll take qala. It has 3 letters like that. And then you want to tell about yourself, which means you're going to add the pronoun, the letter, the ta, which is the pronoun. So that means should have 4 letters. But since this is the hollow verb, then you know when you attach this pronoun, there's a rule. The rule is the letter before this pronoun needs to have sukoon. But it happens that the letter before that letter already has sukoon, and you cannot have 2 sukoons in a row. So then you're going to wind up omitting that middle letter, and then that's going to leave you with 1, 2, 3 letters. And you're going to say, in this case, qultu. So it's called ذو الثلاثة because of being upon 3 letters when you are telling about yourself in the past. Or you say, birtu, I sold. Birtu. نحو قلت وبرت. فالمجرد منه تقلب عينه في الماضي ألفا سواء كان واوا أو ياء لتحركهما وانفتاح ما قبلهما نحو صان وباع. Okay, so I hope this is clear for you. We've repeated it. I'm going to repeat again now. So The mujarrad. Mujarrad means the one that has no extra letters. Its middle letter, tuqlabu aynuhu, in the past, its middle letter in the past tense, tuqlab, is flipped into alifa, an alif. Its middle letter is flipped into an alif. Sawa'un kana wawan aw ya'a, whether that middle letter were a wow or a ya. Meaning, originally you would have said qawala, and you would have said baya'a. But that middle letter there is that wow flips into an alif, and you're going to say qala. And this ya flips into an alif, and you're going to say ba'a. Why? لِتَحَرُّكِهِمَا وَانْفِتَاحِمَا قَبْلَهُمَا, because this middle letter here, the wow, has a haraka, and this ya has a haraka. In this case, fatha. In this case, it's fatha, but the rule is not because of having a fatha. The rule is because of having a haraka. So in this case, it's fatha. وَانْفِتَاحِ مَا قَبْلَهُمَا, and there's a fatha before them. So when those defective letters had a haraka, and the letter before them had a fatha in particular, when those defective letters had a haraka, whichever haraka it might be, dhamma, fatha, or kasra, and the letter before them had a fatha in particular, then this is the catalyst to transform the wow into an alif, or transform the ya into an alif. Those were all the cogs we needed in place to transform those letters. So then it will become qala wa ba'a. Okay. So هكذا. فالمجرد منه تقلب عينه في الماضي ألفا سواء كان واوا أو ياء لتحركهما وانفتاح ما قبلهما نحو صان وباع. Okay. Any questions so far? The author says, فإن اتصل به ضمير المتكلم أو المخاطب أو جمع المؤنثة الغائبة. And I hope you're reading this metin, by the way. Even just reading it, that's good reading practice. And you are, for yourself, for example, translating each word. What's this? Ittasala. What's be? He. Dhamir. Mutakallim. Oh, you know all the words mean. It's not the first time I'm telling you this. This is a great text for you just to practice your reading and just build some vocabulary and everything. فإن اتصل به ضمير المتكلم أو المخاطب أو جمع المؤنثة الغائبة. If there attaches or suffixes, if there are suffixes to the verb, this hollow verb, the speaker's pronoun, or the addressee's pronoun. So the speaker's pronoun is the ta with the dhamma. The addressee's pronoun is the ta with the fatha, or with the kasra. With the fatha is masculine, anta. With the kasra is feminine, anti. أو جمع المؤنثة الغائبة, or the female plural pronoun, the female plural pronoun, the noon, nunu niswa, the women's noon. What What happens if any of these pronouns suffix to this hollow verb? نقل فعل من الواوي إلى فعل إلى فعل ومن اليائي إلى فعل دلالة عليهما ولم يغير فعل ولا فعل إذا كانا أصليين ونقلت الضمة والكسرة إلى الفاء. Okay. So he says, when this happens, when these pronouns attach to this hollow verb, قال باع, قال is wawi, باع is ya'i. When these pronouns suffix to this hollow verb, then what happens? Let me actually pull up blank. So you have قال and باع. قال is wawi, باع is ya'i. So the origin of قال is قوala, and the origin of باع is بايع. And now we want to attach the pronoun, whether it's for the speaker or the one spoken to, or if it's the female plural pronoun. Then what's going to happen, as you know, is these pronouns demand that the letter before them has a sukun. And it happens that when you say, we're not going to say qawala, we're going to say qala. So there's going to be an alif there, has sukun. And then we're going to have to remove that alif and reduce the word to 2 letters plus the pronoun. I think that's clear for you. But the thing is, when we do so, we wind up saying, qultu. Where does dhamma come from? Here's our wazn, qawala, qawala. Where does dhamma come from in qultu? Why we don't just say qaltu? Qaltu. There was a fatha there on the qaf. And there was a fatha on the waw. There's no dhamma here. And likewise, you're going to say beer to. So where does kasra come from here? In beer to, the origin is baya'a. So what happened was that we took the patterns of qawala, which is fa'ala, and baya'a, which is also fa'ala. But where did the dhamma come from when we say qultu, and the kasra when we say birtu? What the author is telling us is this wazn of fa'ala. When you're dealing with qawala, the wawi, we are going to turn qawala into qawula. The wazn is going to, we're just turning it into it. And we're going to turn baya'a into bayi'a. So it's not really the wazn of qala. The wazn of qala is not qawala. It's not qawula. It's qawala. Fa'ala, I mean. Let me say that again. The wazn of qala is fa'ala, not fa'ula. And the wazn of ba'a is fa'ala, not ba'ila. Okay. Why are we doing that? Why are we going through this trouble here to literally just change the wazn here? One might say, what are you doing? You're just deciding from yourself. You're just going to change the wazn? That's it? Khalas? Well, yeah, we are just changing the wazn, but not for no reason. Because we know we're going to need to get rid of that middle letter when the pronoun attaches. We already know when we see qala and ba'a, before any pronoun is involved, we already know if a pronoun does come around, that alif is going to have to go away. So if that alif goes away, if we don't make any adjustment at all, then there is no way to know if there were a wow there or a ya there. Meaning, if we just say qala, its wazn is fa'ala. And when we add the pronoun, then we're just going to say qaltu, because there was already a fatha there on the fa, or on the qaf, rather. There was already a fatha there. Say fat, first root letter. So you might say, okay, what's the problem with that? Instead of changing something seemingly arbitrarily, the problem is that there's a rule in Arabic, a broad rule, not an absolute rule, but a very broad rule, which is that you do not omit something in Arabic without a proof for it, without leaving a proof behind, or without exchanging it for something else. You don't omit something in Arabic without a replacement or proof for it. So we're going to have to change qawalata qawula and baya'ata bayi'a, so that when we want to attach the pronoun, then here, this dhamma is going to slide over to the qaf, and this kasra is going to slide over to the ba. When that happens, then it means when the dhamma slid over, that means left the wow without a vowel. And when the kasra slid over to the ba, it means left the ya without a vowel. Now the wazn is fu'la and fi'la. Fu'la and fi'la. Now we can bring the pronoun. The pronoun is going to put a sukoon on the lam. So let me write this all out here. It was qala with the wazn of fa'ala. But then we transported or transformed the pattern of fa'ala to fa'ula. So we're still going to say qala. The wazn of qala is fa'ala. Don't get mixed up here. The wazn of qala is fa'ala. Don't say fa'ula. But when we want to attach the pronoun, then we need to just turn it into fa'ula. Why a dhamma? Because we're dealing with a wawi. Then the pronoun wants to come and attach, which means the pronoun is going to demand of the letter before it to have a sukoon. And the letter before it's going to have a sukoon already because we will have transported the dhamma over to the fa, leaving that middle letter with no vowel. So now we have two sukoons in a row. And the rule is when you have two sukoons in a row, you erase the first one. And then you'll say qultu. And same thing for birtu. That's what the author said here. Now let me read it and translate it for you. He says, فَإِنِ اتصل بِهِ ضَمِيرُ الْمُتَكَلِّمِ. If the speaker's pronoun attaches to the hollow verb, أو المخاطب, or the addressee's pronoun, أو جمع المؤنثة المخاطبة, Al-gha'ibah, sorry. Or if the a plural of absent females, their pronoun attached to the hollow verb, then if that hollow verb, its original pattern is fa'ala, but it's a wawi hollow verb, then nuqila fa'ala min al-wawi ila fa'ula. Then the pattern of fa'ala, when it's a wawi, will be transformed into fa'ula. وَمِنَ الْيَائِيِّ إِلَى فَعِلَ. And for the ya'i, like ba'a yabiru, the pattern of fa'ala gets transformed to fa'ila. So that when we bring the pronoun, we can just slide the kesra over to the ba, and then that's going to leave two sukoons in a row, and then you drop the first sukoon, the whole letter that is. And you're going to wind up with bi'tu, bi'ta, bi'na. 3 letters. وَلَمْ يُغَيَّرْ فَعُلَ وَلَا فَعِلَ إِذَا كَانَ أَصْلِيَيْنِ. Now, in case we had a hollow verb that its pattern is originally fa'ula, or its pattern is originally fa'ila, then there's no need for us to actively put or impose any change on the pattern. It's already ready. It's already prepared. وَنُقِلَتِ الضَّمَّةُ وَالْكَسْرَةُ إِلَى الْفَاءِ. But in this case, where there was already the pattern of fa'ila or fa'ula, yes, so if a wazn is already fa'ula or fa'ila, you don't have to make any alteration in terms of that middle vowel, that middle letter. وَنُقِلَتِ الضَّمَّةُ وَالْكَسْرَةُ إِلَى الْفَاءِ. Then, once you have that fatha or dhamma in position on the middle letter, relocate it to the first letter. Slide it over to the first letter. وَنُقِلَتِ الضَّمَّةُ وَالْكَسْرَةُ إِلَى الْفَاءِ وَحُذِفَتِ الْعَيْنِ. Then the middle letter will be omitted لِالْتِقَاءِ سَاكِنَيْن, because of having two sukoons in a row. فَتَقُولُ صَانَ صَانَا صَانُوا صَانَتْ صَانَتَا سُنَّ سُنْتَ سُنْتُمَا سُنْتُمْ سُنْتِ سُنْتُمَا سُنْتُنَّ سُنْتُ سُنَّا. So then that's what it would look like, the sarf of this hollow verb. Sana, huwa. Then sana, sanu, sanet, sanata, sunna, sunta, suntuma, suntum, sunti, suntuma, suntunna, suntu, sunna. Okay. But we'll stop here, inshallah ta'ala.